A major shakeup in the Department of Justice is sending shockwaves through the political landscape, in a move seen as both a decisive strike against the establishment and a controversial assertion of executive power. President Donald Trump has taken direct action in one of the country's most vital legal jurisdictions. The Eastern District of Virginia, home to cases of immense national importance, now finds itself at the epicenter of a political firestorm. The sitting U.S. attorney is out, and a trusted Trump ally is in, following a series of extraordinary public statements from the president himself. This isn't just a personnel change. It's a clear signal that the administration is preparing to escalate its fight against those it deems political adversaries, promising to finally deliver what it calls long overdue justice. The story unfolded rapidly on social media, where President Trump announced his intentions directly to the American people. In a post on Truth Social, he began by praising his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, for her dedication and intelligence. Pam Bondi is doing a great job as Attorney General of the United States, he wrote. She is very careful, very smart, and loves our country. But this compliment came with a significant call to action. The president stated that Bondi needs a tough prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia to get things moving. This set the stage for a dramatic nomination, one that would replace the current U.S. attorney with someone from the president's own inner circle. The language of choice for this critical role is Lindsey Halligan, a senior White House aide and one of the president's former personal attorneys. In his announcement, President Trump made his confidence in her clear, stating he would be nominating her to lead this, quote, very important part of our great country. He lauded her as a, quote, tough, smart, and loyal attorney who has been a key part of his legal team for years. The president's message emphasized that Halligan would be, quote, fair, smart, and will provide, desperately needed, justice for all. The appointment is designed to inject new energy and a new direction into an office that the White House believes has been stagnant on crucial investigations. So, who is Lindsey Halligan? She is far from a newcomer to the president's world or to high-stakes legal battles. She is currently serving as a special assistant to the president, a position of significant trust within the White House. Halligan gained national prominence as one of the key lawyers who represented President Trump in the civil litigation following the FBI's raid on his Mar-a-Lago home in the search for classified documents. Her fierce defense of the president during that period cemented her reputation as a fearless and loyal advocate. More recently, she has been involved in a White House initiative aimed at what the administration describes as removing anti-American ideology from national institutions like the Smithsonian Museums. Halligan's nomination came just hours after the sudden departure of Erik Siebert. While Siebert stated in an email to his colleagues that he had resigned, President Trump offered a different, more blunt assessment of the situation on social media. He didn't quit, I fired him, the president declared. Trump further criticized Siebert by noting he had been backed by Virginia's 2 Democratic senators, suggesting he was not aligned with the administration's agenda. The president referred to him as a Democrat-endorsed Republican, making it clear that his removal was tied to a perceived lack of commitment to pursuing the administration's top priorities. This move signals a new phase of ensuring key positions are held by unwavering allies. The core of this conflict lies in what the White House viewed as Siebert's inaction on politically sensitive investigations. According to sources, Trump administration officials had previously communicated to Siebert the president's frustration over the failure to bring criminal mortgage fraud charges against New York Attorney General Letitia James. This investigation reportedly stems from allegations of paperwork discrepancies on properties owned by James. For months, the case had stalled, with prosecutors in the office believing the evidence was not strong enough to proceed with charges. However, the administration insisted that charges should be filed, creating a standoff that ultimately led to Siebert's ouster. Letitia James, a longtime political foe of President Trump, is not the only high-profile figure under the microscope in the Eastern District of Virginia. The office is also involved in a second sensitive probe targeting former FBI Director James Comey. This investigation is reportedly tied to the FBI's handling of the original investigation into the Trump campaign in 2016, a matter that the president and his supporters have long argued was a politically motivated witch hunt.
As with the James case, Siebert had reportedly expressed to officials that he did not believe there was sufficient evidence to bring charges against Comey, further contributing to the administration's frustration with his leadership. The president's frustration boiled over into the public sphere with an earlier social media post that appeared to be addressed directly to Attorney General Pam Bondi. In this now deleted but widely reported message, Trump openly questioned why nothing had been done regarding potential charges against James, Comey, and another political rival, California Senator Adam Schiff. He wrote with a clear sense of urgency and exasperation. "We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility." This public demand for action was a direct and unprecedented move, highlighting the president's determination to see these investigations move forward aggressively and without further delay from the Justice Department.
In that same post, the president drew a sharp contrast between the inaction against his opponents and the legal battles he has personally faced. "They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing," he wrote, channeling the deep-seated belief among his supporters that he has been the victim of a weaponized justice system. He concluded the post with a powerful and unambiguous demand: justice must be served now. This statement serves as the administration's new mandate for the Department of Justice. It frames the appointment of Lindsey Halligan not as a political move, but as a necessary correction to a system that, in their view, has applied justice unevenly for years. This entire episode is a clear reflection of President Trump's governing style and his second-term agenda. Throughout his first term, the president went through numerous cabinet secretaries and top advisors. However, the first 8 months of his second term had been marked by a relatively stable team of high-level staff. This recent action in the DOJ signals a potential shift. While he has consistently stood by Attorney General Bondi, even amid some criticism from his base over other issues, his public pressure could be a sign that his patience is wearing thin. He expects results and is willing to make changes and apply public pressure to get them.
The nomination of Lindsey Halligan places a proven loyalist in charge of an office that the administration sees as critical to fulfilling its campaign promises of holding the so-called deep state accountable. In his announcement, the president underscored this point, noting that Halligan, working alongside AG Bondi and Deputy AG Todd Blanche, has the, quote, strength and determination to be absolutely outstanding in this new and very important role. The move is designed to ensure that the U.S. Attorney's Office in this key district is fully aligned with the president's vision of justice, a vision that includes pursuing cases against his most prominent political adversaries, whom he believes have escaped scrutiny for too long. Immediately following the news of Siebert's departure and before Halligan's official nomination, there was a brief period of confusion about who would take the helm. Mary Maggie Cleary, a Justice Department lawyer who previously claimed she was targeted by the Biden administration for her conservative views, reportedly told colleagues in an email that she had been unexpectedly tapped for the post. The Associated Press also reported that Cleary would serve as the acting U.S. attorney. This suggests a fluid situation within the Justice Department as the administration moved quickly to make a change, ultimately settling on Halligan as the president's designated nominee to permanently lead the office and its high-profile investigations.
Critics of the president have been quick to condemn these actions, framing them as a dangerous politicization of the Justice Department. They argue that firing a U.S. attorney who concluded there was insufficient evidence to prosecute political rivals and replacing him with a former personal lawyer constitutes an abuse of power. One commentator noted, "I think it's really concerning when you see people being fired as a matter of political retribution and a desire to set the record straight as one sees it." This perspective holds that the president is attempting to use the DOJ as a tool to settle personal scores and punish his enemies, rather than allowing for the impartial administration of justice. From the administration's perspective, however, these moves are essential to restoring balance and credibility to the nation's justice system. Supporters argue that for years, powerful figures have operated with impunity, while the president and his allies have been subjected to endless, baseless investigations. They see the appointment of a tough and loyal prosecutor like Lindsey Halligan not as retribution, but as a necessary step to ensure that the law is applied equally to everyone, regardless of their political standing. The president's call for justice for all is seen as a promise to his voters that the era of a two-tiered justice system is over. The legal community and the public will now watch closely to see what happens next. It is not yet clear if Halligan will serve in an interim capacity or if her nomination will proceed to a full confirmation vote in the U.S. Senate. A confirmation battle would undoubtedly be contentious, turning into a national debate over the independence of the Justice Department and the scope of presidential authority. In the meantime, her appointment, even on an acting basis, gives her the authority to review the stalled investigations into Letitia James and James Comey and decide to move forward with charges, fulfilling the president's mandate to get things moving. This development in the Eastern District of Virginia is more than just a local story. It is a pivotal moment in President Trump's second term. It represents a clear and uncompromising effort to reshape the federal law enforcement apparatus to align with his political objectives. The president believes he has a mandate from the American people to root out what he sees as systemic corruption and political bias within government institutions. For his supporters, the nomination of Lindsey Halligan is a welcome sign that he is actively fulfilling that promise, taking on the establishment and fighting for a justice system that they believe has been unfairly tilted against them.
The investigations themselves remain at the heart of the matter. The probe into Letitia James centers on alleged mortgage fraud, with her lawyers vehemently denying any wrongdoing and calling the investigation an act of political revenge. The investigation into James Comey is linked to the FBI's controversial probe of the 2016 Trump campaign, an issue that continues to be a rallying cry for those who believe the president was unfairly targeted from the very beginning. The outcome of these cases, now potentially in the hands of a new prosecutor, could have far-reaching implications for the individuals involved and for the nation's political climate as a whole. President Trump's decision to personally and publicly drive this change underscores his hands-on approach and his use of social media as a direct line of communication and a tool of governance. By taking his case to the public, he bypasses traditional channels and rallies his base of support, creating a groundswell of pressure that makes it difficult for anyone in his administration to ignore his directives. His praise for Pam Bondi, followed by the clear instruction to bring in a tough prosecutor, was a masterclass in managing his administration in the public square, ensuring his agenda is pursued with the urgency he demands.
Ultimately, this story is about the fundamental questions of power, loyalty, and the pursuit of justice in a deeply divided nation. Is the president's action a legitimate effort to restore fairness and accountability to a broken system, or is it an overreach of executive authority designed to punish political opponents? The answer largely depends on one's political perspective. For the administration and its millions of supporters, this is a necessary and courageous step toward fulfilling the promise of justice for all. They see a president unafraid to challenge the status quo and install people who will fight for the truth, no matter how powerful the target. As events continue to unfold, all eyes will be on Lindsey Halligan and the Eastern District of Virginia. Her leadership will be immediately tested as she takes control of these highly contentious and politically charged investigations. The decisions she makes will not only shape the future of these specific cases, but will also serve as a defining moment for the Department of Justice under the Trump administration. The president has made his expectations clear, and he has chosen the prosecutor he believes is capable of meeting them. The coming weeks and months will reveal whether this bold move will lead to the justice the president has demanded.